What makes a rough year a loser, and what makes a rough year a winner? The United States has just come off an incredibly difficult decade, which began with the disaster, with the tragedy at the Twin Towers of 9/11, and continued with a series of wars and a terrible recession, which may even be a double-dip recession. And many people in their own individual lives have had difficult years. Years that are marked by tragedy and by failure, years that are marked by reversals. And as we enter Rosh Hashanah, I'm sure that there are plenty of people who are looking back at the past year and wondering, was this past year a failure? And what I want to talk about is how even failures need not be failures. That even when you take a downfall, you can continue onward and actually succeed. And it's actually a very, very powerful idea that's found in the Torah, in the Hebrew Bible. We're told about how Jacob gets the name Israel. And actually the name Israel, Yisrael in Hebrew, relates to the fact that Jacob has this ability to spend an entire night wrestling with an angel, to show himself capable of not only wrestling with man, but actually wrestling with God. And at the end of the evening, he's given this name Yisrael because Kisaritem Elokim v'anashim v'tuchal, that you were capable of wrestling with God and with man, and that you overcame it. Now, what's ironic is if you look immediately after that, the Bible tells us that Jacob is limping. And if you look at the picture and you think of it as a movie set, and you look at the actor, and here he's being lauded for his courage. You're such a strong man. And the strong man is sitting around limping. And I always wondered about that. Solea al yirecho, Jacob is limping. What's the meaning of this ironic touch to call Jacob a powerful man and then show how weak he is, how he's limping? And I think the answer is very simple. When you are injured and you are down, when you've spent an entire night wrestling, and even if you've gotten the better of your opponent, you've gotten the better of the challenge, you end up being injured and find yourself in difficult straits. If you can continue to walk while you limp, then you are triumphant. Then you have actually succeeded. Some years are filled with failures. Some years you have all sorts of difficulties that come right at you. But if you're capable of continuing to walk while you limp, if you're capable of going on after you've failed, even if it feels difficult to continue, you've moved forward, then even if it feels like a failure, you are a success. And this is one of the great lessons of Jewish history. I remember years ago, I was in the south of Israel, the Negev, which is essentially a desert, although they've been doing a great deal of farming there recently with irrigation, and it's actually, the past 60 years, they've really built up the desert. And I remember hearing a lecture from a gentleman by the name of Menachem Perlmutter, who was telling us about agriculture in the south of Israel, how they're managing to grow strawberries in the desert. And as he was giving the lecture, I was fixated on his forearm, because on his forearm was tattooed a number. He was obviously a survivor of the Holocaust. And there he was, sitting there, talking to us about growing strawberries in the desert. And I couldn't help but think that this man, who had seen the greatest horrors in history, had managed to continue to limp, continue to walk, to the point where he was producing the miracle of growing strawberries in deserts. And that is really the lesson of limping. You can be a hero and still limp. You can be a powerful man and still find it difficult to balance yourself. Because the truth is, the really triumphant people are the ones who walk through failure and continue onward without stopping at all. Much like Menachem Perlmutter, who went through the Holocaust and continued onward until he learned how to grow strawberries in middle of the desert. Shana Tova.